Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step.
Look for the silver lining whenever a cloud appears in the blue.
Hello and welcome to Between Us. Make every conversation count. I'm your host Santosh Kumar, and today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship through a very special series, the Bharat Startup Series. This has been something which has been brewing in my heart and mind for a while, and I'm beyond excited to finally bring it to life for all of you. Here's what we are going to do. We are going to dive into the world of entrepreneurship in the true sense. We're going to have conversations not just with entrepreneurs or investors. We're going to have conversations with incubators, accelerators, policymakers. We're going to talk about not the Instagram-worthy highlights, but the real deal. The struggles, the pains, the dreams, the aspirations. So let's dive straight into this exciting, interesting series of entrepreneurship and startups. But before we get into that, let's start with something more personal. My journey as an entrepreneurship. My journey as an entrepreneur from behind the mic. The pains, the struggles, the insights I have gained over the years. Over the past decade and a half, as a working professional, and as an entrepreneur, I've had varied experiences working with diverse groups of people. Fortune 50 corporations, such as the United Parcel Service, the United Healthcare, Microsoft, and the works. One of my greatest takeaways have been the relationships that I've nurtured, not just with the organizations, but with the people who have not only been my professional connections, but very dear friends. But there comes a point in your life where you ask this very important question. What am I doing? Why am I doing? Am I doing enough? Am I being true to my calling? Am I doing something which holds true to my values? And I reached a point in my professional career and in my personal life asking this very important question, that am I doing enough? And that's when I decided to pivot away into an entirely new world, a world of unknown storytelling, not in the traditional way, but in a way to empower people. And that is how my podcast, Between Us, started. Because for me and for all of us, every conversation matters. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you have taken a leap of faith? You've changed jobs, you've changed cities, or probably you just changed the way you live your life. And I know it's scary. It's scary for all of us. And that's exactly what it has been for me when I started this podcast. I knew I had to tell stories, but honestly, I didn't have a roadmap when I started off. I just wanted to create a space for meaningful conversations. And after a year of podcasting, here we are, starting off with this exciting, empowering Bharat Startup Series. Now, you might be wondering, why startups? Well, the answer lies in my own personal entrepreneurial journey. When I stepped into the world of startups, sure, it was exciting. It was daunting too. I have had many sleepless nights. Sometimes not sure if I would be able to compensate my team on time. Sometimes worrying about the next paycheck. Sometimes worrying about, did I do enough in a client meeting? But you know what stuck with me the most? The lessons. Every failure taught me something that I couldn't have learned in any other way. Every success, even the small ones, gave me the fuel to keep moving forward. And here is one truth I want to share with all of you. Entrepreneurship isn't about never failing. It's about failing forward. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow. So I want you to take a deep breath and ask yourself, why haven't I made that move? Why haven't I jumped into it? Is it the fear of failure or the burden of success? We have to ask this question. Do we lack resources? Or do we have the best of resources and we are not sure if we will be able to live up to those expectations. I want you to understand for a moment that every single entrepreneur around us today, successful or yet to be successful, they have all been at the place where you are today. Dreams, fears, doubts. So what are you waiting for? Make that move. Jump into that dream of yours. One of the most powerful tools for an entrepreneur is storytelling. Let's take a moment and imagine that you're pitching to an investor or a potential co-founder or an employee. What will truly matter is not just the numbers. Sure, they're important. But what will truly hook them is your story. So what is your story? Your story is your why, the vision you're chasing, the impact you're going to make. And when you tell that story with authenticity, people don't just hear it, they feel it. I have seen this and experienced this firsthand, whether it was pitching for a project, negotiating a deal. What truly mattered is the connection I would make, painting a picture of what we could achieve together. And that's a skill every entrepreneur needs to master. So here's a tip I have for every one of you. Start practicing your story. Write it down to the point that it becomes your second nature. Believe in it, visualize it to make it happen. And when the time comes to pitch to an investor, to a co-founder, to a potential employee or a customer, your story will be your secret weapon. So let's look at what's in store for each and every one of us in this series. You will hear from founders who have built multi-million-dollar businesses and those who are in the trenches navigating the first year. You will hear from investors in terms of what they are looking for from businesses. You will hear from incubators, accelerators, and government policymakers who shape the policies which will build the startup ecosystem. But here's what excites me the most, the lessons. Remember, behind every success story is a roadmap, and behind every failure is a blueprint for growth. I want each and every one of you to take away something actionable from every episode. It could be a new perspective, it could be a strategy, or it could be as simple as a motivation to keep going, to keep at it. I want to make this series a conversation, not a monologue. So reach out to me directly. What is it that you want to learn? What are the challenges you're facing as an entrepreneur? Who are the people who you would like to hear in this conversation? Remember, this is about you and your voice matters. And before I wrap up this episode, I want to speak directly to those of you who have an idea you're passionate about, who are on the verge of kickstarting your entrepreneurial career. To those of you who haven't yet started because you are unsure, and to those of you who have started and are stuck, I want each and every one of you to know that you don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to start. And I know it's easier said than done, but take it from me, who have been through these experiences. And remember, there would be failures, there would be difficult times, but always look within yourself and ask this one question: why did you start? Lean into your purpose, lean into your calling, and please do not be afraid to ask for help. That's what communities like us are here for. So as we embark on this journey together, here's my challenge for each and every one of you. Think about your why you are starting this journey. What is that impact you want to create? So are you ready to take that first step? Writing down your vision, reaching out to a mentor, or simply subscribing to our podcast. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. Share it with a friend who are about to start their entrepreneurial journey. I want to hear your stories, the topics you want to listen to, the people you would like to meet in this podcast series. Remember, this is not just a podcast. It's a conversation between us. Thank you for tuning in, and I can't wait where this series will take all of us together. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep believing, keep building, and keep inspiring. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Between Us podcast. The producer is Santosh Kumar, and the associate producer is Samyak Kamble. The Between Us podcast uploads episodes weekly, and we'll see you next time.